All right, this is your six-way paragraph. Really, it's a passage because it's three paragraphs. It's called Famous Horses of the Past. So remember to think about the title and maybe pause and think about what you know about famous horses in history. All right, here we go. Did you think only kings and queens lived in marble houses? Well, Caligula, a Roman emperor, kept his horse Incitatus in a marble stable. The horse's stall was made of ivory. The horse wore a golden collar inlaid with jewels. His purple blanket was a sign of royalty. It was rumored that Caligula had even made his horse consul. A consul was a ruler with much power. Horses have helped to shape history. Long ago, winning or losing a battle often depended on how fast a horse could run. Horses were crucial in war. General Robert E. Lee never parted with his horse Traveler. During the American Civil War, General Lee led the Confederate Army. Traveler braved many battles with Lee and was never hurt. The most famous war horse of all time was made of wood. It actually helped defeat an entire army. About 3,500 years ago, a fierce battle was going on between the Trojans and the ancient Greeks in a place called Asia Minor. The Greeks tried to think of a way to outsmart their enemies. Finally, they built a huge wooden horse, taller than two houses, and left it outside the gates of the city of Troy. Since they didn't know where it came from, the Trojans thought the horse had magical powers. Carefully, they pulled it through the gates. That night, a surprising thing happened. The sides of the wooden horse opened, and a band of Greek soldiers climbed out. They opened the gates of Troy and let in the Greek army. The Greeks soon captured the city of Troy. All right, so remember you'll want to go back and think about each paragraph and what it's about. And hopefully, as I was reading, you were trying to visualize some of these little mini stories about famous horses of the past. So the first paragraph talks about a horse in way in the past, because we're talking about a Roman emperor, so thousands of years ago, and he kept his horse in a really, really fancy stable made of ivory. He wore jewels. The horse had jewels and gold and wore purple as a sign of royalty. And he even made him a ruler who had power. And then the second paragraph talks about horses in war and how General Lee had his horse Traveler, who went through many battles with him. And the last paragraph talks all about the Trojan horse, which is actually a big, humongous wooden horse that Greek soldiers hid inside of so that they could get through the walls of Troy and then sneak out, open the gates, let their army in. So now I'm going to read these out loud and you are going to answer them. So feel free to hit pause when you need to think about it and answer. All right, what is the main idea? Horses are interesting animals. Horses help to shape history. The most famous war horse was the Trojan horse. So be thinking about what the main idea, and then mark the statement that is too broad with a B. Too broad means this statement is too big and broad to be actually the main idea of what we just read. And then mark the statement that is too narrow. That means it's just about maybe one detail or one paragraph of the story and not about the whole thing. Number 2, the subject matter of this passage is horses in history, horses of war, magical powers, Greek soldiers. Number 3, according to this passage, the Trojan horse A had magical powers, B was made of wood, C led thousands of soldiers, and D was never wounded. Number 4, the Trojans did not expect to find A, soldiers inside the horse, B, weapons inside the horse, C, such a wonderful gift, D, that the gods favored them. Number 5, the first sentence in the second paragraph tells what A, the author wants most to tell us in the passage, B, horses are usually raised for, C, can be done by an intelligent horse, D, must be done to train a war horse. So for this one, I suggest you go back to the first sentence in the second paragraph, read it, and then decide. Number 6, if something is crucial, it is A, needed very much, B, difficult to understand, C, very fast, D, surprising. So you might want to go back to where the word crucial is underlined in the passage, see what it says, and then choose the best answer. And you can type your answers in a Google Doc. For example, for number 2, you'd write 2, period, and then the letter that you think is the best answer. Make sure you share it with me. Good luck.